Welcome, everyone. Hope you're having an awesome day. I've got my friend, both my friends here, Travis and Trenton. I'm going to intro Travis here first because I met him first, Trenton. I met you after at one of our events, which is great. So Travis and I go back to, Travis, I don't know where the hell we met. I think it was through Lab Code Agents.
It was.
Okay, it was. And it was before Travis had a full-on beard. He was clean shaven.
I was just a boy.
He was just a boy, and now I was just a girl. Yeah, there you go. And so one thing led to another, and we started working together. And then we had an opportunity at the same time to go to Facebook. And in that meeting, after that meeting, they had everyone there. It was only 6 of us or so. And they asked us if we wanted to run the real estate advisory board for real estate for Facebook and Instagram. And of course we said yes, right? We're like, we'll help you. Of course we'll help you.
Let me think about it. I don't know. Yeah.
That created an amazing relationship directly with Facebook. And we became friends with a few people there. And then they kept on coming back to us to introduce new products, to talk to us about real estate. We connected Facebook to a lot of brokerages at the corporate level. And then a lot of what you see out there was because of our friendship with Facebook and opening up those things. Through then, though, we've played with Facebook ads. We've run them at a high level, spent millions of dollars, literally millions of dollars on Facebook ads. And Travis then became a leading expert on Facebook ads, and I stopped playing around with him as much. He created a whole coaching company and a company now that runs it for you, which we'll showcase later, called Walled Garden. But that's Travis. He also has cool other things, like he used to do MMA, which we can talk about later.
That's how I lost a couple brain cells, but you know.
But that's what coffee's for.
That's what coffee's for. That's what cappuccino's for.
And Trenton, at one of our events that Travis and I were doing together, it was a high-level mastermind in Las Vegas. Trenton came in and he was like, "This is really cool. I'm learning so much." And he's like, he had a lot of questions, this Trenton kid, right?
Yeah.
And I went to Travis. I'm like, "Who is this guy? He's got like questions I don't even think of." We were very impressed by Trenton.
But then Trenton would actually execute it. And that's the key thing, everybody, is execution, right? And so Trenton was one of those pros that would actually absorb it like a sponge and be like, "I'm going to do this," and then do it.
Yeah, at a high level, because he worked for a company where he would just run ads and service them as well as the ISA calling and converting them. So multi-talented there. And then Trenton, recently I had the opportunity to hire him to be our director of technology. So I was like, hell yeah, you're coming to work with us. And so the very first webinar we're doing is one on Facebook lead ads specifically, because we are noticing a trend. Facebook is not only growing now our reach organically, so now more of the people that are following us are seeing us organically, which is a great thing, finally, right?
Yeah.
But the marketing is working a lot, because a lot of people, a lot of big companies have started to step out. And that means that Facebook is paying more attention to the marketing and how it's working, who it's reaching. And they have been tweaking their algorithm over the last few months. So that's what we're excited. We want to show you what's actually working. And Trenton's going to lead the way as far as showing us. And then Travis and I are going to come in and be like, "Yep, nope, check this out. These are the nuances." And it's mostly Travis doing it. I'm just going to drink coffee in the background. So
that was my plan, but
dude, I beat you to it. You're screwed. You're screwed. Everyone, let us know what city, what state, what country you're from. This will work all across the world where Facebook ads are allowed, where Facebook is allowed. So Canada, Europe. I know we have a few people from Europe as well. Latin America, everywhere where Facebook is allowed. Trenton, you're up, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction. So today, folks, we're going to kind of go through this the right way to figure out how to run Facebook ads and be able to generate leads. A little bit about me. In the last 4 years, I've generated probably over 100,000 Facebook leads for real estate Facebook leads. So have some experience with that. And yes, definitely learned from the best, these two here. But I was able to implement all these things that I've learned. And now I'm here to show you guys what I've learned over the years and how you guys can implement it in your business. So we'll just kind of start out here with a couple little stats here that I know Tristan likes to throw out. But something kind of cool right now that just hit in this past last quarter, Facebook has 2.96 billion active monthly Facebook users, which I thought was just crazy amount. And, those are some numbers that we definitely want to be hitting. 30 to 49, that's kind of the age group of the highest percentage of Facebook users. If that's not a first-time home buyer, that's definitely someone that has a home that's looking to sell their home, possibly even have already purchased 2 homes. And then 60% of the people in the world are Facebook users. There's definitely some international buyers out there. But the main thing here is that of all those people out there, 69% of them are Americans using Facebook. So again, you have a high count of people that you can definitely target, especially in the right range, that are going to be looking to purchase a home. Just a little introduction, us three kind of already went through that. But the main thing is, like, what are Facebook lead ads? Lead ads are a particular type of Facebook ad within the lead generation campaign objective. And you can either capture that to buy or get buyer or seller leads through Facebook. There's a couple different ways that you can do that, and we're going to go through that here today. You don't really need to send people off to a landing page either. You can just capture that information right in Facebook, which is great, which is what those lead forms are for. It's great to grow your client base, get some leads in there and be able to work those leads. A big question that people have is, do Facebook ads work for realtors? Yes, if you do it the right way. There's a lot of ways that you can do it and, not have too much success with them. And that, something like a boosting of a post, that's something that we're going to kind of walk you through later on. And, but we're going to kind of show you the right way to do it. So that way you can find people that are truly interested in your services that you're working for them. What's great about Facebook lead ads is that, right down here, you can use them to get potential customers for your business. You can use it as a way to increase traffic for your open houses. You can take your client base and, retarget to them. You can maintain your brand with your target audience. So keep yourself out there, keep promoting yourself. And then that way you can, start generating referrals even. And a nice one that Tristan uses it for is to collect subscriber information for his company newsletter. That's the way to stay in front of them with on a monthly basis, but you can get them to download that, stay in front of them. Maybe they weren't looking specifically to buy a house, but they want to get some information for the next 6 to 12 months. You can encourage downloads of different brochures or, guides like a home buyer's guide or, a seller's guide. You can definitely promote those, or something that Tristan and I are working on, or, a citywide guide. So it's like a new homeowner's guide to a specific city. And so in there, we can run some ads to, generate some business there. And then it's also important to understand the interests and behaviors of the potential clients, because that way you can do some specific targeting for them. And of course, your success will depend on your strategy, your consistency, and your ongoing campaign adjustments. And, I can attest to that is I'm in Facebook, lead ads all the time. In that ads manager, trying to make adjustments, reviewing, is the copy working? Is it the images that are working? Is it the demographic, set up correctly? So there's a lot of ways to continue that success, but you do have to, stay on top of things and make sure your strategy is correct, which is what we're going to kind of go through here today. Right off the bat, you might be thinking, how much do real estate Facebook ads cost? This graph over here, these are some of the leads that I've generated for another company. And the main ones that I want to point out here is pretty much anything that's not colored. Those are kind of citywide specific. So, the latest new listings in Denver, Colorado, or the latest new listings in, Madison, Wisconsin. Those are kind of generating pretty much successfully under $5 per lead. That's just kind of a citywide listing, kind of generic. But these yellow ones here that are under $3, ones in here for under $2, these are ones that are promoting agent new listings. So, a just listed new home. You can get some really good traction here, and you can see how much money is being spent here. $8,000 at $2 a lead. This is probably a really big listing here. A couple of these other ones are springing some big dollar amounts. This one right here that's in green, this is a recruiting ad. So this is for recruiting real estate agents, at $35 a lead here. Granted, that was why it's, kind of a lot more was spent there, because they were trying to generate some, new real estate agents. But for the most part, you can keep your lead generation cost under $5. And that was kind of what my benchmark was when I was generating these leads. But of course, what you're going to pay for these leads is going to depend on a few factors, such as like how well you can target the leads, how good your ads are. You can put out an ad and just have the worst copy and worst image, and you probably would spend a lot of money and maybe not get any leads. But we're going to go through some of the tactics here to focus on, what is the right imagery? What is the right copy? What is that right demographic to be targeting? And then also, targeting the right audience, maybe it's a custom audience that you have, and trying to generate the leads that way. And obviously, the results are going to be proportional to what you're spending out there. But again, we're going to try to set you up to be successful right away.
Quick thing, two things. Number one, this is being recorded, so it will go onto the YouTube channel. So I'm going to put up the link right now. When you see the link right now, just subscribe. It'll be up by tomorrow. So there it is. I just put it up. And now, number two, Trenton, is there any way that you can do the presentation mode so people can see the details here on some of the things that you pop up?
Yeah.
And then
it's usually a little finicky here. Webinar, so
while you're doing that, that's okay. Yeah, I know Canva's a little. Is this Canva? This is Canva, right?
Yeah.
The presentation mode can be a little finicky. The other part is Travis is also going to show you. He's not only here because he has a pretty face. He's also going to. Travis is also going to show you everything that Trenton is going to show you in detail. He's also going to show you a hack, which, he created a walled garden. So he's going to show you, hey, look, you can do this on your own, or we can do it for you. So there's going to be both. And that to me is the good part, because if you're talking to me, Travis, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of running the damn ads on my own. Okay. That's why Trenton's here. All right, Trenton, you're back.
Awesome. So, before you get started running ads, you definitely want to make sure your brand is on point. Maybe that's, updating your headshot, making sure your websites are set up correctly, make sure your logo is being presented in the right way. Do you have a mobile optimized website? That's always a good thing to ask. You have about 70-80% of the people that are going to be looking at your ads are going to be looking at it on mobile versus a desktop. So if it's not optimized for them, you could lose that customer right away. And the big thing is, it's always going to be that speed to lead too. So once they come in, you're going to want to make sure that you're able to respond to them right away and give them a great experience as well. That headshot's big because you want to look trustworthy. That's really important to make sure that you are looking very professional. Do you have the right colors? Are you using the right fonts? Things like that, just to make sure that you are visually coming off in the right way and making sure that your brand is showing off in the best way too. What do you need to run Facebook ads? Well, you'll definitely need a Facebook business page, and you can definitely create one kind of like here that Tristan and Associates has. You want to make sure there's a little bit, or at least some content posted to your page, just so, you make sure you stay relevant. But also just so that way it's a trustworthy thing as well. If you land on someone's real estate page and there's nothing there, I'd be like, well, who is this person? Can I trust this person? You don't have to keep it posted super regular, just because there's not going to be a ton of people that are actually coming to this business page, because you're going to be sending them to your website. But just for credibility purposes, you're definitely going to want something here. Post your new listings. That's definitely something you're going to want to have up there. Make sure you have your contact information. So that way, if someone does pop on that page, they're able to get a hold of you. And like I said, having that website or landing page, you'll be able to direct people there, and then you'll be able to follow up with them there, and that's where they're going to go after they're clicking their ad anyways. But after you have your Facebook page set up, you're pretty much ready to go as far as being able to run ads. And as we're going through this, we're going to kind of present all this information to you, and then we will show you exactly how to do it on Facebook on your own. But before we jump into the actual ad manager, having some of this background information will be a little bit helpful before we jump in there.
Trenton, I have a question. Are you going to, at any point, show Facebook's ad library, or no? Like just to show that what's possible through other examples, or no?
Yes, there is a bunch of examples in this presentation of different ads you can run.
All right. Then what I'll do when you get there, I'll show a link to Facebook's ad library, or Travis, you can do that when you're talking about it.
I think that specifically is in here because I will go over the transparency section as well and how to view other competitors' ads.
That's the one. Thanks, buddy.
So the main thing with a Facebook campaign is to understand the whole structure of it. You create a generic campaign that's kind of your broad overview. And kind of right behind Travis there in that picture, he has tofu, mofu, and bofu, which is great because that means top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. And so it's a way of being able to follow up with different leads when you have that funnel set up. But the main structure here is you have a campaign, and here's kind of where you're going to set your objective, whether that be running a traffic ad, trying to run for engagement, if you're trying to convert and get a lead, that's the kind of campaign section you'll set up. And then they have an ad set underneath. So you can have multiple ad sets under that campaign, and then you can have multiple ads within that ad set. So the ad set's kind of where you're going to set your budget and your scheduling. And this is also where you're going to define your targeting, placement, and bid settings at the ad set level. And then once you get into the ad section, this is where you can have multiple ads, with different images or text options. Maybe it's a different testing versions. So we'll walk you through this, but having an understanding of how this breaks down will help you when you see the ad manager. Here's a good one is, how do I make my leads stand out? Making sure that you're presenting some value to them. So communicate exactly what they're going to be getting, and then making sure that you're sharing that information with them. So if it's a home buyer's guide, making sure that they're downloading that guide right away. If they're downloading a list of homes for sale, make sure when they click that download button, they're either getting a list or they're showing up or landing on your website with that specific list of homes right there and there. A big thing is keeping it simple. You don't want to overwhelm them with too many questions or, too many things going on in the post. You want to kind of keep it simple and make sure you're driving them to a certain type of action. In a lead form, you can ask a bunch of questions, but then that's going to cause the cost to go up. Because let's say you ask them 10 different questions and most people only get through 5 or 3 or even 1. So they're going to drop off and you're going to have some drop-offs there. But as long as you kind of keep it simple, and we'll kind of walk you through that too, you should be good to go. And then make sure you're reflecting your brand in the right way. So that way you can drive a response from your audience that builds intent. That's a big thing. And again, we'll even show you a different way to make the leads stand out based on copy and image wise as well. Here's kind of a simple benefits of lead ads, right off the bat is you don't need a landing page. And that's kind of the big thing is because you're capturing that information right in Facebook. Yeah.
Let's make this a little fun. First, we have 400 people on, so thank you watching live. We had 1,500 of you registered, so you will all get the copy of this after it goes up on YouTube. And if you didn't subscribe, go to subscribe again, and you will get the slides as well. Now, this is the fun part. I want you to keep count of how many times Trenton says right off the bat. All right, here we go. You can start now. Now Trenton's going to be super aware of it. I'm just playing around, but keep track of right off the bat. Back to you, Trenton.
Awesome.
I love doing it.
The reason why you don't need so thrown now.
I know, it's so good.
You don't need a because like I said, they're captured right in Facebook. You definitely want to have some type of landing page to send to, but let's say you do have that home buyer's guide, or let's say you're trying to get them to a newsletter. As long as you're capturing that information, putting it into your database, you can follow up with them right away. It's pretty simple. You can easily submit their information, especially if they're on mobile. Their information is going to be automatically inputted into that lead form, which will make it a little bit simpler to download. You can also download them straight out of Facebook, or if you use a software tool like Zapier, you can have them sent to like a Google Sheet to keep track of them. You can also funnel leads directly into your CRM, which is something you definitely want to do. And that way you can have some type of marketing automation set up to be able to follow up with those leads. Because as I mentioned before, it is speed to lead, and you do want to make sure you're reaching out with them within 5 minutes if possible. So maybe that's an auto text or an auto email, or possibly a trigger to make a phone call right away. That's always going to be important. And you can use that, and then, you want to make sure that you're identifying the right people that are going to act right now. And so you're able to do that kind of with some simple targeting, and that'll help you out as well. Let's see. So here's kind of like what a lead form kind of looks like. When someone sees that ad, they click that subscribe button, their information gets easily presented in there, and then they're automatically ready to go. So once that kind of goes through, you might be sending them to a landing page, or you're just capturing their information. And typically you'll kind of put some type of disclaimer there that mentions what specifically you're doing with that information. Maybe that's, you're going to have an ISA follow up or something like that. Like I said, you can reduce drop-offs with pre-populated information, which is really nice on Facebook. It's just going to auto-fill that in, so someone doesn't have to type it out as well. And you want to make sure you're giving people what they want.
On this specific thing, because we do have, this came up a couple of times, and I want to pick it up. Travis, with leads coming through, like we're seeing right now in this process, can they go into conversion, into Chime, into anywhere else? And if we're going to go through walled garden, can you do that automatically for us, like into KV Core?
Absolutely. So there's, anytime you're using a Facebook lead ad, that can be the tricky part, which is getting the leads outside of Facebook, right, and sitting over to some sort of CRM. So ideally, most of the time you're using something like Zapier. And Zapier is a connection tool that connects things like Facebook to KV Core or your main CRM, whatever it might be. And so making sure that you have a way to bridge that so the leads are coming in real time and being sent over to your CRM, that is a critical step. Trenton, I think you might have some information on that, but at the end, I'll kind of walk people through a little bit about easy way to connect that. But really, if most CRMs, or probably 95% of CRMs, all have a way to be able to connect. Now, some of CRMs actually have Facebook where they can kind of auto connect to Facebook lead ad form. A little bit more advanced, but I'll walk you guys through that a little bit towards the end.
Thanks, buddy. All right, back to you, Trenton. Thanks, buddy. And by the way, dude, you're doing a great job.
Thank you. How do you create Facebook lead ads? And so as we kind of walk you through this, here's kind of an example of an ad that you can kind of create. But you're going to end up creating it through your, the ads manager section, or directly from your Facebook business page. When people see your ad, they're going to be promoted to fill out your form, which is going to be great. And then as we kind of just were talking about, you can have those leads sent directly to your CRM system. Like a Chime CRM, you can automatically have them in once you log into Chime. There's a couple ways to manipulate a little bit by filling out some UTM parameters that we'll go through. And then that way you can, be able to sync up some tags and things like that. Pretty simple though. Let's see, 3 core pillars of success for Facebook ads. Here's kind of where I was mentioning of where, if you want to have a successful ad, you're going to want to make sure you're, looking at a couple different things. A big one is targeting. If you show your ads to the wrong audience, doesn't matter what you do or what you offer, because you won't be successful in that. We're going to show you how to do the right targeting, so that way you don't have to worry about that. The type of ad you run, whether it be a single image or a carousel ad or a video ad, just making sure that you have strong imagery and copy that, pertains to exactly what they're seeing and what they're going to be getting as well. And then with all the different campaign objectives, you know, as long as you're aligning them with your business goals, you should be set for success as well. You know, the main ones kind of for realtors are, you know, lead generation, brand awareness, or even promoting your business locally, depending on what it is specifically you're looking to accomplish. You know, maybe it's you're doing retargeting to all the leads you already have and you want to promote your open house this weekend. You know, you can set that up and be able to drive traffic to them, you know, that open house landing page. But once you kind of get into the ads itself, you know, here's kind of that first section you're going to see when you get into the ad manager when you're starting to create an ad. And again, we'll walk you through this specifically on ad manager so you can understand a little bit better. But you're able to choose a few different campaign objectives right off the bat, you know.
Now you're conscious of it.
Yep, I was going to not say that, but I was like, so let that.
That's so good.
You know, a couple of different ones here. The main ones to kind of look for is if you're going to be collecting leads, which is probably the majority of what you guys are going to be doing in here. You want to use the lead section for the campaign objective. There's some other ones here like traffic. If you wanted to, you know, increase to a destination of your choice, like a landing page, maybe it's your website, you know, maybe you're trying to just have people engage with the post. Whatever your objective is, that's kind of where you'll likely select this. But for the most part, you're going to choose leads, or at least for this purpose, we are going to. And then so once you do select leads, then you have a few different options here of how to generate those leads. You know, you can send them directly to a landing page on your website. I would say sometimes that works. It's probably a little bit more of a higher intent buyer or seller that's going to be going there. I think that's great for if you're going to be doing like a home valuation request, if you want to send them there. Instant forms is kind of the biggest one that I like to stick with. I've tried the instant forms in Messenger, but this one doesn't generate very many from Messenger for me that I've noticed. Maybe you guys have some other success there. But based on the cost per lead and, you know, which ones are coming in, I just prefer the instant forms just because it works the best. You know, maybe you want to generate calls to your business. And maybe, maybe this isn't specifically for real estate. This could work for another one as well. You know, maybe you want to do some Instagram chats if you're really big on Instagram. But definitely there's some options here that you can interact with your leads or to be able to get different leads in a different way. We're going to want to figure out what our campaign budget is. Typically though, it's, kind of what you're looking for. I would say probably out of 100 leads is what you kind of want to be focused on. And, at least being able to convert 5% of them, into your clients. And then, even if you only get 2 of those that actually buy or sell, you're still making a, large profit. Even if you're spending $50 per lead, getting 2 leads of those 100 that actually convert, you're still getting a huge profit there. Like I said, we're trying to get you down to under $10 per lead. So trying to eliminate that. But at the same time, if you can get more than 5 people to interact with you out of the 100, I would say it's probably more like 15 to 20% of the people you're able to really have conversations with, and then maybe 5 to 10 of those 20 to 30 are actually someone that's really intent on buying or selling. And then it's all about getting them to trust you into being, working with you as a real estate agent. But here's where you're going to end up putting in here for what your budget's going to be. They have a daily budget or a lifetime budget. I like to stick with daily budget of at least $10 per day, depending on how much you're trying to generate or how much you're trying to spend. I know Tristan has mentioned, or Travis has mentioned before in the past, that this isn't necessarily his strategy, but I like to have, one campaign that gets set up at $10 a day, but then run 2 or 3 of those exact same ones for the first 24 to 48 hours to be able to test the audience. Because once you're able to test that audience and you'll be able to find a winning campaign, you could then possibly bump it up to maybe $15 instead of the $10. But that's kind of just how I like to start that out. But, I would definitely say as you're going and you do find a campaign that's working, you don't really want to touch the budget too much, because then it's going to mess kind of with the algorithm, and maybe not work as well as you had hoped because you had made some adjustments there.
I have a question for Travis on that. Travis, do you typically do a budget when you're running walled garden ads? What do you set that budget at for people typically, since you're running the ads on the back end for people?
So on walled garden, the agents, everyone has the ability to set their own budget, but it's set as a default of $10 a day. And it's just the way that we have it designed in our software programmatically to be able to sift through the algorithm based on what that is. And sometimes it spins less and sometimes it hits that 10. But if you're doing it on your own, like Trenton said, it is wise to be able to play around with the budget. And it used to be that the rule of thumb a couple of years ago was you would spend basically $10 per 100,000 people in the audience, give or take. And, you got to imagine that the targeting is almost kind of like a pool, let's say a giant swimming pool filled with coffee. Right. And that is our audience. And then we've got a cup, right, of creamer. And this creamer essentially is our ad spend. And so if I walk up and this is just, $2 a day, I'm going to pour this, a cup of creamer into the swimming pool of coffee, which is our audience. It's not going to make a big difference. Right. But if I come in with a 50-gallon drum of creamer and pour it into that swimming pool of coffee, that's being the 50-gallon drum is our ad spend, means we're getting enough in there to actually make a difference. So in between $10 to $20 a day per that 100 to 200,000 people in the audience. Now the algorithm has shifted over the past several years, being that the audience is looking really at more data post iOS 14 changes where it's difficult to track people or certain people targeting audiences, 1,500 different targeting interests have been removed. So you have to play around with a couple different ad sets, meaning you've got 2 different audiences or maybe even 3 different audiences you're going after. One might be interest-based. One might be a really large custom audience. One might be just open wide targeting, where it's just geographic targeting and you're not defining any type of targeting interest. And you get to see and play around. That's kind of what Trenton's talking about, is having different ad sets of different audiences to see which one is the best in working with that. And then if you're leveraging something like conversion optimization, which is now changed to kind of Advantage Plus, then it's going to be moving around the budget for you. But I would say minimum budget, $10 a day. And the reason for that too is because you got to look at the audience as a pyramid almost. So think about a pyramid. And at the top of the pyramid is the cream of the crop of the best buyers that are already pre-qualified, the best homeowners that want to work with you at the very top of the pyramid, right? A very small kind of audience. Then the rest of the audience is the middle part here, where the majority of the audience is, that take the most initiative and action, maybe 3 months, 5 months, 6 months down the road, but they plan on buying, but it's the bigger chunk, right, of the people in the audience. Then you've got the base of the pyramid there. Those are the leads that are going to type in like Mickey Mouse at yahoo.com, or they're never going to answer their phone, or they're probably never going to buy. They're not the right people for you. They're the bad leads. So you need to bid properly in the ad auction, daily ad spend, to reach this middle section here. If you spend too low, your ad is only going to be shown to the people in the ad auction here, because you're competing against billions of other ads, right? Yeah. And this is part of what Facebook does, is they filter through and they identify, hey, who should this ad go to based on what they call the BEAR algorithm. Think of a big, mean grizzly bear. BEAR stands for bidding, expected action, and relevancy. Bidding being that you're spending maybe $10 to $20 a day for the audience, appropriate audience size. Expected action is just looking how many people are actually clicking on the ad, going through and adding their information and going through the proper step that meets the objective that's been chosen, which is lead generation. And then relevancy is how relevant is the photo, the ad copy, the post-click experience, the website itself. That's page load speed. That's is the ad creative, the imagery, and also the copy from the website, does it match the ad? Is the relevancy there? So it looks at that kind of hierarchy in weighted balance in the ad auction to make the decisions of where to serve your ad to the specific audience. So bidding is an important play in that. But you know,
I'll end it with this because you're right. And the reason that the budget is important right now, even more important than before, is because a lot of marketers jumped out. So
Right.
your competition is a lot less. And this is why the ads are performing better.
I got to piggyback on that, Tristan, which is that so the average age, or not the average age, we already went over the average age that Trenton showed earlier, which is the 30s to 40s, which is a great. That's home buyers, that's people that own homes too. But the fastest growing demographic is women that are 56 years old. Fastest growing demographic, 56 years and old on Facebook. We look at that as the baby boomers that control the majority of the equity and the majority of all the real estate in the nation. That has shown that Facebook's audience has matured drastically. Now, the rise of TikTok and Instagram, some of the audience has kind of shifted over to Snapchat and TikTok and whatnot. So you've seen a more matured audience starting to grow in becoming the dominant, basically audience within these ad campaigns. And so we're seeing lead ad forms make a big comeback because they are generating more higher quality prospects that are actually your target buyers. I do see a quick question, and then we're going to jump back to Trenton so you can get back to going through this. But the special ad category, let's see, Tracy asked, how to target appropriately. How to target appropriately is basically just choosing the special ad category. Please don't say I'm not going to choose it, because that will get your account banned and get your Facebook business page and your ad account shut down. And to get that back is more than, it's incredibly difficult. Trust me, you don't want to go through that experience. You're going to lose everything. You're going to have to start over. It's not pretty. So just choose special ed category, choose housing, stick with it. And don't think that it's been constricted, because it really hasn't. The algorithm has drastically shifted to where Tristan and I in Trenton, about 7 years ago, we used to be able to say, we want to target women that drive BMWs,
I just got the women who want to
shop
drive
at Whole Foods that live in
BMWs.
this zip code that have. Sorry. So we used to be able to say we want to target women that drive BMWs, Lexus, Mercedes, that live in these 3 zip codes, that have a net worth of this, that live in a home that's 2,400 square feet and over, right? That has a platinum credit card, that shops at Whole Foods, right? We used to get laser targeted. All of that went out the window 6 years ago because it was ineffective, and then all of the different targeting shifted. So Facebook now says, hey, we're looking at broad targeting. We need more people in the audience, more data points to be able to serve the right ad to the right people. And it's the actual algorithm logic looks at the images you use, the ad copy, and the destination website you have. All the spider bots on Facebook looks at that and says, hey, we're going to identify the right audience to send this to. So when people say, hey, I don't want my ad to be shown to a bunch of 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. One, they're probably not on Facebook. Two, it's going to shift and show it to the right people based on the behavioral actions that they've done on other websites and things that they've looked up recently. Okay.
Dude, the great explanation. Thank you.
That was great. I mean, I feel like you just explained this whole slide right here.
I think we're done. I mean, that was 2 hours. I'm joking. We got an hour and 15 minutes. Don't worry. We have time, everybody.
So piggybacking off of what Travis was saying here, here's where you'll select your category here, and you'll have to do that for, credit, employment, social issues, a few different items as well. But you'll pick the housing, and like you mentioned, the targeting gets kind of adjusted. But the main thing to kind of take away is this one right here, that you can't geo-target for less than 15 miles. So wherever you end up selecting, maybe it's San Diego, you're still going to have to be within a full 15-mile radius. So it might be a little bit more trickier to focus on a specific farming, but there is definitely different tactics and ways that you can do that. So here's kind of your audience targeting you can be able to choose. Got a dog over here trying to get in the presentation. But we'll have some interest, behaviors, and demographics. So that's kind of where this is like the audience that it'll break up for. And you can create your new audience. So maybe you want to create a custom audience, and we'll kind of go into that. You can pick if someone's living in or recently in this location. Maybe it's someone that has moved to this location or was, specifically lives there. And then you have your age range that you can't adjust, and you can't adjust the men and the women either. But then you can also put in some other tips here that will kind of help out with that. And on the next slide, I'll show a little bit more specifically. But the thing is with the interest and the detail targeting is you can focus on people that have expressed, interest or like pages such as Zillow or Realtor.com, or, someone that has a pre-qualification or is a first-time home buyer, to kind of help with that specific detail targeting to be able to capture those leads that really are in your realm that you're looking for. Where did this go? So over here on the right, I put some of the interests that you want to consider for targeting. Obviously like a Zillow, Trulia, real estate investing, first-time buyer, for sale by owner, home equity loan, all these different ones that are right here. And this is not all of them, but these are a great first start. When you type in one or two of these, you can also hit suggestions, and I'll show you that exactly. And then it'll suggest other targeting options that might be of interest to you. But of course, with the new housing regulations, that does make it a little bit harder. But you're going to try to want to find what are, some things that are likely to make someone move soon. Another option, and Travis, correct me if I'm wrong if this got removed, but you want to look for different life changes that might happen that would, cause a move to happen. So like interest in infant supplies and toys, because that could show that there's a new baby along the way, which may mean that, maybe they're trying to move out of an apartment into a house that they can have for the new family. Maybe it's someone that's done a bridal registry. So that way you can find people that are getting married, because typically they might want to, buy a house together in the next year. Things like that.
Those are great tips. And they used to be available. But they're no longer, those key life stages, right? That were the top ones that triggered people to move, having a baby, new job, moving closer to family, downsizing. But the best way to develop that is really that your creative is the new targeting. And what I mean by creative, it's the ad image, right? It's the video, whatever it might be, because the ad creative drives 90% of a campaign's performance. Right, that's where people's eyeballs are. They're looking at that. They're trying to identify and find what's relevant to them. So for that, Trenton, I think using images of maybe a baby, it could be a stroller, right? Parents trying to pack everything, what it might be. There's ways to really illustrate that. And the targeting is then derived from some of the actual ad creative that's being played with and used. So making sure that you've got different images. If you are not using a property image from a house, which really kind of is a pretty blanket type of ad to use. If you're going out and choosing something differently, make sure you use a variety of those different images so you can test them out, and the algorithm will serve them out to the right people to identify and track them.
And there are some examples of those specifically at the end of this presentation as well that'll be shared with you guys so you can view. Again, choosing your audience, here's kind of a specific example of someone, what if you're looking for someone that's kind of more of like a real estate investor, some different options that you can target here, like stock market or, investment in business and finance, and being able to target the real estate investing as well. Just making sure you have, the right ones in here for specifically what you're looking for. And here's obviously an example of where you have to have that 15-mile radius of where you're looking as well. Oops, I hit twice, I think. Again, another thing with the audiences here is you can be able to create a custom audience, which I think is really beneficial if you're trying to do some retargeting. Maybe if you're trying to specifically hit people that are interacting with your Facebook page, different sources here. So you could even click on, once you have your pixel set up, click on different website activity. Travis, what was the one that you just shared on your Facebook page days ago?
So that would be choosing website as your source, and then from there choosing the actual specific URL. So you can do kind of your main website URL, but if you want to get a little bit more kind of strategic with it, you can use your property search URL, and then you can actually do it by time spent. So 5%, 10%, or 20% of the people that have spent the most amount of time on your website. So choosing 5% is basically going to say, hey, I'm going to choose the top 5% people that spend the most amount of time on my website. And so with that behavioral action, what you're doing is really identifying, creating a custom audience of the people that are searching the longest, spending the most amount of time searching for homes over the past 180 days of website visitors. So with that, then you can run retargeting ads to them, because those are the people that are more than likely going to take some sort of action, right, in the next coming days, weeks, or months, based on them spending so much time looking for a home. So yeah, there's different types of ads you can run to them, but that's definitely a good one to use.
Another one is if you have your lead form running and someone interacting with it, let's say they open it up, let's say they like it, let's say they make a comment on it, but they didn't submit their information. So you could then create a retargeting audience based on, I forgot which one specifically is. You'd hit lead form here and be able to click anybody that's opened up the lead form but didn't submit it. Then you can then run some really inexpensive ads, maybe even at $1 per day, to that specific audience, because they have already shown some type of interest in that ad. And so that works great. And like I said, you can do it for $1 a day at a minimum and have a lot of success. Choosing your placements. This is the next section when you're creating the ad. Unless you have something else to say, Travis, I'm pretty much just like keep it with the recommended placements. If you really had some specific content like that specifically for like reels or Instagram stories or something like that, then you could select those placements. But for the most part, just keep it as the recommended one.
In the Advantage Plus placements here, which is recommended with the little stars kind of next to it, the change there is that Facebook is leveraging a little bit more artificial intelligence to identify who to serve the ads to based on where the users are throughout the day, and also where ad costs are a little bit more, where there's a bigger opportunity. So for instance, maybe at 3 p.m. from 3 to 6 p.m., maybe it's really just on Facebook Marketplace and Facebook Newsfeed. And then towards the evening, the budget will shift and actually push the ads into, let's say, Instagram, right? Or, some other type of placements like in Messenger. So there's an advantage in using Advantage Plus because it's going to make those optimization choices for you automatically.
All right, a couple of questions here, so we can just pause. Uploading lists. I think when we get to that section in the live ad creation, we can go over there. Travis, you can go over there if you want. And then the other part is conversion. Conversion rate really comes down to, I think the main skill is your skill. How great are you at talking to people and knowing that these leads are top of funnel? It's going to take a while for them to transact and close. And some of them, most of them, are not going to transact in a year. So knowing that ahead of time and knowing how to talk to them is going to be a big piece in your success. And look, we've had ones that close here locally. I'm in a luxury market. 23 days in, we close a $13 million lead. So that happens too. But most of them are going to take a while. And then anytime you have any questions, pop them into the chat or the Q&A, and Travis and I will try to take care of them as Trenton is talking.
Yeah, my old team converted a $2.4 million listing in Oceanside in 6 days. So they wanted to see it that weekend and make an offer on that. So it is possible.
Was that initially via text message or phone call or email?
That was through, I don't know specifically when they reached out in the smart plan, but it was a auto text that went out with an auto nudge 7 minutes later, and then a phone call within that first hour.
We love that.
Yeah, so that one was a really great one. It was a brand new agent too, so really set her off right off the bat.
We're gonna have a bell, bing.
So writing copy for your ad. Here's kind of the big part now that we're getting into the creative. I put some text options over here that I've been running for, that's generated probably over like 60,000 leads based on these copy points. And I'm definitely using emojis. And that was something that Tristan kind of pushed a few years ago. And it's been successful ever since. There's a standard one here, see all available homes in Chicago, use just listed homes for sale, work with our lending team to get pre-approved, because at the time the company was both a lending and a real estate team as well. Hot new listings, see all available homes in Chicago. And if you can see that I'm using some different bolding methods here, I use this site here, yaytext.com/bold-italic. And you can just put any copy in there and it gives you either a sans version or a sans serif version, which is kind of nice. But I like this nice clean one here. And so obviously these headlines, a couple different options. In the description, I don't do too many options here, just the typical, download those homes, see more photos now. But these have done really well. A big thing here is, what's in it for me? Why should I click on the ad? When you're creating the ad, if there's something that, just because it looks pretty doesn't mean that it's going to engage with them, doesn't mean that it's going to, get them to convert. So just think about that when you're creating this, or if you end up going with this, or even in the walled garden perspective, that's still a thought to have. And then also consider using people as well as images, because it really puts them into that perspective of, oh, that's me in that, that image. I can make that feeling happen. So it really resonates well with them. When you go to creating the ad setup, as far as the image, video, or carousel, here's kind of your options here. And if you run a dynamic ad, you can have up to 10 different photos and videos versus one just single image that will kind of test against each other, which is kind of nice. But carousel ads work really well. Like if you have a new listing and you want to show off different photos of the home, or maybe it's a retargeting carousel ad where you're showing different listings within that city that they were looking at. Maybe it's a video of yourself, introducing a new home community that you're working in. Maybe it's a video of you outside of, your farming area, or maybe it's a bunch of photos of the amenities that are going on in that community. That's just, the tip of the iceberg there. And then once you get into creating the lead form, this is kind of, I believe, the last step in, creating the ad itself. But once you open up the lead form here, you can add custom questions. I would probably suggest not doing more than 1 or 2 questions if you do ask questions. Just keep in mind that the more questions you ask, that higher cost per lead will happen. Those results that I was showing you at the very beginning, I had been asking questions, but then we made some decisions to remove the questions and let our ISA do all the work, because we noticed that it wasn't helping necessarily. Because if someone said they're moving in 3 to 6 months, and then you talk to them and they say, well, I'm moving in next year, that kind of caused some discrepancy there. So we really had our ISAs do the follow-up and do the converting there. But that's definitely an option to where you can do that. You can also click the settings button and create some different UTM parameters, specifically for like Chime. I know a few different ones that you can have set up to come in as like the campaign or the source or the tags. So that way you can route specifically to the right person based on that information, or even be able to set up auto smart plans based on that information as well. Let's see. Oh, I skipped one over. So the other thing that you can do with the lead form is, send them to a website, have a call to action of call now, and provide a phone number if you want to have them call, which I think is kind of a cool option as well. Another question you can ask is, are you a first-time home buyer? Have you been pre-approved? When do you need to move? And do you have a home to sell? I probably wouldn't, venture beyond these 4 questions. You definitely could. But I think these are probably, the main ones that you'd be looking for, and you can probably eliminate a couple of them as well. That you have the home to sell is a big one, and when you need to move are kind of the main two that I think you'd want to use if you're going to use questions. And then in that lead form, you want to choose a landing page as well if you don't do the call to action. And, typically you'd want to send them if, they're looking at homes for sale in Malibu, California, just making sure that when you then click on that link, you're sending them to homes for sale in Malibu, California on your website. That's kind of the big thing there. It's just making sure that, they are getting what they're asking for. And then, I think this is the last one here is measuring your performance. Just keeping track of what's going on. And, the main thing that I had always looked for was the cost per lead. The cost per click, maybe if you're looking for a landing page view instead of capturing your lead form. The total number of leads is something that you'd want to keep a track of just to make sure that you're hitting your goals that you're looking for. Maybe you're trying to grow your database by 20 people a month. Are you on track for that? So you can kind of look at that. And then click-through rate and then cost per impression. Again, those are kind of stats that depend on what specifically you're looking for in your business.
I think there's one that we don't talk about at all here, and that's cost per relationship. And if we look at going through online leads in this way, what starts happening is, first of all, I'm talking to you to build a relationship from the get-go, right off the bat, right? I'm talking to you. And that's going to be your slogan, Trenton. Whatever you're going to build out, it's going to be that. And then all of a sudden, I want to help you long-term. I don't just want to get you into a property in the next month or 2 or 3. I want to do such a great job in being the source of information that you're going to come back to me. And if you don't transact, your friends will transact with me. Your family will transact with me. And if you do transact, you're going to refer people to me, and then you're going to transact again with me, right? We have clients that we've been working with because Facebook lead ads came out in 2015. We started, Travis, when did we dive into it? 2015, late 15 or 16?
Yeah, it was late 15, early 16.
Yeah. All right. And then I have clients that have been working with us through the original Facebook that had since 16, and we've built amazing relationships with them, right? So don't look at this as a lead source. Look at this as a relationship builder that can expand your database. That is the key to success with this.
Great point there. So this one, I added this in here because Travis has this hilarious video about boosting your post. But there's always that easy button, and I know that you guys have seen it, is should I boost my post? Travis might want to speak a little bit more into it, but basically you probably don't want to do that just because they're just creating kind of like an engagement, and it's not necessarily going to generate you any business from it, and it's kind of just wasting your money. If you utilize the creating the ad section, if you're going to put, $50 behind boosting your post, you might as well put $50 behind creating an ad, showing it to the right amount of people, and trying to generate business that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because boosting a post really is just in the algorithm is what it stands for. It's called PPE, page post engagement, because really all it is just looking for comments, likes, and shares. It never taps into the lead generation component. So I would say, yeah, Trenton's absolutely right. Invest it in lead ads. That's where you're going to actually get contacts and get leads.
Let's see. And then when to hire the pros to manage your ads. I can't necessarily tell you when you should do that, but I think you should base it off of, do you have the amount of time to create the ads? Do you have the amount of time to check in on the ads 30 minutes to an hour every day to make sure that they're performing well? You'd hate to have an ad performing kind of poorly and you're at $8, $9, $10, $11 per lead, and you check it a week later hoping that things went well. And, there could just be, a couple $100 that just went spent out the window just because you weren't paying attention or didn't have time to do it. I would definitely think that if you do want to do lead generation through Facebook, to either do it yourself or definitely hire a pro like Walled Garden to do it for you. Travis will kind of go through here in a second of how easy it is after you kind of see how maybe difficult it is to create the ad, an ads manager. His takes less than 2-3 minutes, where creating a specific ad might take 20-30 minutes for someone that's maybe not super experienced either. Let's see. Okay, here's that part that Tristan mentioned about the ad center. There's a way to see what other realtor competitors are doing, and you can see their ads and what they're running. And that's through the ad library, but also through a page transparency section. So the first one I'll walk through is the page transparency. So when you go through a business page, you can click on the about section and go to page transparency, and then it'll click on see all, and it shows you everything that they're running as far as ads go. And then you just have to click this go to ad library section here. Mm-hmm. And here's kind of what you'll end up seeing is something like this. And so if Tristan, the business page I clicked, was running any ads, we would see them here. But this ad library, you can click on housing here and then click in your city, and then it shows you different ads that are being run in your city. And here's the link, facebook.com/ad/library.
I'm going to put up the link really quick to show. And while I'm shifting, I'm going to just borrow your screen for about 30 seconds. And while I'm shifting out, if some of you went to Walled Garden, if your MLS isn't there, your MLS will be available nationwide. They're going nationwide February 1st. So they'll be able to run ads from all over the nation. Let me show you where to go. I put up the link. This is what you're going to see here. It's Meta, it's Facebook, and Instagram. But here specifically, search our ads. Let me zoom in. United States, add a category. Let's go for housing. And then it's going to start changing it up. Now, as it's changing it up, you saw the other option we had there. And you know what? Let me see if, let me reload it. You saw the other option that we have there is per city. We can go to city as well. But we just wanted to do you know what? Let me switch it to search for country. Oh, we can go to housing. I know that we can go into search by city. What do we want to do? Miami? Let's do Miami, Florida. And now we have all of the ads that are currently running in Miami, and we can filter them out, right? We can go more granular. So if you want to see what your competition is doing, go ahead and do that here. Now, don't be fooled. Some of these suck, right?
That's for sure.
I'm not gonna point out which ones, because that's kind of rude. But if you go with us and go through the whole process, we're going to show you what doesn't suck. So just because you're looking at things here doesn't mean you should copy it. It's just an example of what people are doing. And so that's the link. Go ahead and click on that. And Travis, now that you're back, we were mentioning that Walled Garden isn't available everywhere until February 1st. So if you clicked on Walled Garden, checked your MLS, it's not available, don't worry. You've got 11 days to go, and then it will be ready. But I suggest everyone to jump into at least take a look at Walled Garden. Look, even though we know how to run this stuff, like Trenton is a pro, I'm a pro. I want Trenton's focus on something else. So we're using Walled Garden too. There you go. There's a link. Travis, anything you want to add?
Sure. Yes. So Walled Garden is going to be nationwide in every MLS. So if you go there and you can't find your MLS just yet, talk to our chat support team. They'll give you the instructions of what's going to take place. And if you put your name, give us your name and information, we'll follow up with you and let you know once we go live. And in just a little bit here, I'm going to actually walk you through and show you Walled Garden and what it can do. But I'll hand the reins back to Trenton.
Perfect.
Awesome. So that was kind of the end of the presentation. At the end, if we still have some time, I'll walk you guys through some actual examples of ads being that have been created that you guys can definitely try to replicate. But right now I'm going to show you kind of what it looks like to create an ad once you're in the ads manager.
And that's
So
business.facebook.com. So if you want to go there, business.facebook.com.
yes, so business.facebook.com there. And now my computer froze. And you'll end up somewhere probably in this home section here. I probably should have just stayed on this page.
On the little housey on the left, on the top left, on the little house. And while he's doing that, Travis,
Yeah.
what are we looking at time-wise for ads? How long can they run for? Can they run for as long as you want them to run for? And more importantly, should you have them run that long? What's
Exactly.
the
Yeah, no, that's a good question, which is, so running an ad for a certain duration of time, at a certain time, so you do want to set it to just run for as long as you can, but where you're going to see is if the frequency of the ad, meaning that the ad is being shown to the audience too many times, what that will do is that'll cause a negative feedback score. The audience basically is getting kind of tired of seeing the ad again and again and again if they haven't opted in. And what that does is that then suppresses the reach of your campaign and really kind of hits ad fatigue. And ad fatigue typically kicks in around that 30-day mark, depending on the audience size. Sometimes you find a sweet spot with the right budget, the right audience size, and you can kind of expand the audience. There's a couple different optimization techniques you can do, but you want to look at, is my cost per lead going up, and is
Are you cutting it? Is it me cutting in and out, or is it Travis, Trenton?
I noticed Travis was too, but then I thought it was my
Did I cut out
Yeah, you cut in and out a little bit.
a second there?
Yeah, I think you're back now. Or maybe not. Nope, you're cutting in and out. You're frozen now. At least you're smiling. You were about to say right off the bat, I know it. All right, Trenton, we'll go back to you until Travis comes back.
Awesome. So once you're on this, the Meta business page here, you can click the Ads Manager button, and then that'll open up kind of the Ads Manager section here. And here's where you have that campaign section I mentioned. You have ad sets, and then you have ads. And so you're going to have your campaign that's going to break down into the ad sets, and then that'll break down into the ads. So the other thing to kind of look for is to make sure you're selecting your business page up here. And you can see more ad accounts, and
Okay, did you freeze? Trenton, you froze.
yes, sometimes
You froze, buddy. I think I'm the only one not freezing. I'm just not cool enough, right? It's my dad joke of the day. I'm just not cool enough. You guys are.
am I good?
I think you're almost. I know Travis is back. You're coming in and out. Tristan, and you jinxed yourself. Don, I think you're right. I jinxed myself. And while I have you guys all on, I'll give you a little bit more time, Trenton. But this is recorded again. I know that's a question that keeps on coming out. This is recorded, and it'll go out on, if you registered, it'll go to you. Some of you don't check your email, and that's fine. But I'll also put up the link to the YouTube channel right there. Go ahead, subscribe now. It'll just notify you when the video is up tomorrow. Just make sure you click on the bell, and then smash the subscribe button. Did I give you enough time, Trenton? I think you're good now.
Yeah.
All right, good.
All right. So once you hit that create new campaign, here's kind of those objectives that you can choose from. Are you gonna chime in?
Yeah, I wanted to see if before you go on this, because this gets really complicated for some people. It's going to be like, what the hell just happened? I want to know if we could do the quick demo with Travis, because there's night and day difference, right? One's in depth, and you can do this on your own, which is what we're going to show you. And then one's super easy. And that's why Travis built it. What do you think, Travis? Do you have the bandwidth to do it on your end for internet?
I, I do. I think so. Let's see. Do you want me to jump in and show you?
Yeah, let's give it a shot, man.
All right. Let's do this. Okay, so we just learned, right, all about Facebook lead ads and how to do it. This is walledgardenhq.com. And you're going to log in through Facebook, choose your MLS. You're going to verify that. And again, we will be nationwide February 1st. It's going to show me some stats of some campaigns I ran here recently. But the magic sauce here is I'm going to click on listings. And it's going to show you all of your listings. It can show you all of your listings or your office listings. And I'm going to choose the one I want to run. I hit this. I'm going to choose this property here. Hit view Facebook ad. And it instantly creates the Facebook ad for me, right? It writes the ad copy for me, has the image already uploaded for me, has the headline, some basic stats, and it creates the Facebook lead ad form for me as well on the back end. And from there, it also auto does the targeting, leverages around 50,000 unique data points to identify people based on their behavioral actions. Have they gone to Zillow, Realtor.com, maybe a property search, or they looked at an online mortgage calculator. So all of that is created for you. If you need to change the duration, remember minimum 10 days, I can scale that to 30 days or something in between. Daily budget, $10 a day, right? I can scale that to 50, something in between, but it's going to target within a 15-mile radius around the property address. And I say, all right, I want to purchase this ad, move forward to the next step. I type in my credit card details here, and then the ad is ready to go within about 5 minutes. The ad will be running, being seen by thousands of people, targeting buyers and sellers. And we ask 2 qualifying questions on here. After we get their name, email, and phone number, we ask, when do you plan on buying a home? Just as you saw Trenton showed. And then the most important one, I believe, which is, do you currently own a home? Yes or no? If they say yes, we have a seller lead. And currently about 35 to 40% of the leads coming through Walled Garden are sellers, right? It's a great way to generate those prospects. Now, when they click on the ad, they go through the lead ad form, they end up at a single property website that is auto created for them. And so this website is directly, basically is Walled Garden. It's built in less than 50 milliseconds. And it instantly creates all this. So you don't have to upload any website. You don't have to upload any photos or write any website copy, right? It's all there for them. And it's done in a really beautiful way that it looks like you've got the power of a digital marketing agency behind you, right? Really showcasing the home in a beautiful light. And so all of this, again, built in less than a couple seconds. Now, the cool thing about this is that it's mobile optimized, right? There's tap to call, click to email, all of those things there. And this is, again, single image, or you can do a carousel, right? The carousel gets a little bit of a higher click-through rate on these. Now, what I want to do, let's say I want to edit this ad. I can click edit, go through the drop-down menu, and we've battle tested over 10,000 different ad campaigns and chose over 250 different variations of what we call top copy. And we selected the ones that get the highest engagement, the highest click-through rate, and then pre-built them here. All this information is all pulled directly from the local MLS. I can choose, I can identify the photo. Now, a little pro tip here is that we say use the exterior photo to generate more leads. Now, what we mean by that is we've done eye tracking studies where we see the exterior photo gets a much higher click-through rate versus an interior photo. So use the curbside image. That's going to get you a lot more photos there. I'm going to choose this as the single property website, right? And then it's instantly created. And to kind of show you again just how easy it is, 30 seconds or less, I'm going to choose a property. I'm going to choose this one, hit view Facebook ad. And then it's going to create the ad for me. So I'm going to promote an open house. I got this photo. Maybe I want to go ahead and switch that photo out. I'm going to choose this. That's a better one. Hit that. And I'm going to run this for, let's say, 16 days. Hit agree, hit purchase. And now we've launched our Facebook lead generation ad, generating buyers and sellers in the local area. Now, let's say I want to go for out-of-state buyers. Well, outside of my area, I'm in New Mexico, but maybe I want to attract people from Los Angeles. So I'm going to target people in Los Angeles. This ad is going to run in Los Angeles, but instead of an open house, right, I'm going to go ahead and say, have you seen this amazing home for sale? And then I'm now trying to get out-of-state buyers, right? Which out-of-state buyers typically a little bit more higher cost per lead versus what you're going to see. But that is an option that we have there. Now, Trenton did talk about the reporting of the ads as well, but I'm going to also show you the opportunity that is retargeting, where you can build a video ad to retarget individuals, right, to nurture those folks. So if I want to upload a video about a market update, or I want a video that's talking about a specific community, whatever it might be, I'm going to upload that video. And let's say I want to start with a custom audience. I'm going to upload a list of homeowners that live in Los Ranchos, right? I'm going to upload maybe 4,000 homeowners. This is a higher end neighborhood. I want to run a video talking about the market in Los Ranchos, how it performed in 2022, and what we're going to expect probably in 2023. And it's going to run and nurture all those individuals. You can upload a custom audience with a CSV file, drop it in there, name it. Or let's say you want to target your sphere of influence, friends, family, past clients, all of your past leads. You can run a video there that's going to nurture them. And I'm going to do this for, let's say, 23 days, nurture them with this video, keep in front of them. I'm trying to encourage referrals from all the people I'm connected to. Or I can do a one-click custom audience here that creates a custom audience of any leads that have engaged with my Facebook business page, all my walled garden leads, right? All the leads I've generated from my Facebook lead form, anyone that's watched my videos. This will retarget and nurture those folks as well. Or I can just run a brand awareness campaign. Let's say I'm in Austin, Texas. I can just run a brand awareness campaign that's going to target buyers and sellers automatically for me. So the opportunity here is that you're basically using artificial intelligence software that is really powerful, that instead of taking, an hour and a half or 2 hours to create a Facebook lead form, which if you want to, I believe that everyone should learn how to create Facebook lead ads and do it themselves. But if you want to just get it out the door and promote your listings, you have the opportunity just to click a couple of buttons, and this will be launching those Facebook ads in just a couple minutes, right? And you can then focus on what you do best. There you go. There's that one. Or
that was easy.
Let me show you a case study we have here. So this was an agent that had a 3,940% return on investment from walled garden, 570 leads generated, 87 cents cost per lead. They got 18 active clients, 2 homes under contract, and 1 home closed. And that was Chris Dudley out of Phoenix, Arizona. 20,000 commissions made. And basically they said, they've got another 19 individuals that they're nurturing. And over the next 12 months or last 3 months, walled garden has opened up the opportunity of making a new 160,000 in gross commissions over the next 6 months from all the leads they generate. And, when I was an agent, my whole thing, and I spent, over around 20 years running a brokerage, being a single agent, being a brokerage owner, I had 271 listings at the height of my career. And my goal is to squeeze the marketing juice out of every single listing that I had. That was it. That was my leverage. Every listing I had, I created a single property website. I marketed that property. I had a landing page for it. I would post on social media. I would email that out. I would get it as many places as I could. And at that time, we had a WordPress developer, a designer, right? Someone that would then build everything and market this. It was a team of 4 people to create this that would take days. In today's standards with best-in-class technology, you can do that same strategy and launch campaigns in just a couple minutes, but also focusing on the fact that you want the goal of generating buyers and sellers. So if a seller comes through here and we have identified a prospect that says, yes, they're currently on a home, you want to follow up with them and say, hey, thanks so much for checking out the property I posted on Facebook. I'm creating about 5 different custom home valuations for some clients of mine in the area. I'm more than happy to create one for you if you'd like. I know prices have been a little all over the place. There is definitely a big pricing surge. Things have kind of leveled out here and there. Let me know, no obligation, happy to do one for you. That service mindset, that customer-oriented mindset of delivering more value, right, and building reciprocity creates likability, but also shows that you are there to help them and not to sell them, right? If you're going in for the appointment setting, if you're going in for, are you pre-qualified? If you're trying to disqualify and qualify, it can scare people off. The best thing you can do, and Tristan is an absolute masterclass in this, is providing value and continuing to serve them and build that relationship. So this is an opportunity to get listings and buyers all within this type of platform.
All right. So, dude, when will all the MLSs be available?
So February 1st, we're launching this all to over 600 MLSs throughout the nation in the United States. And we're going to have to go through a couple of things here. If your broker is subscribed to ListHub, you'll get it. If your broker is not subscribed to ListHub just yet, ListHub is a data provider. If you go through and talk to our chat support team at Walled Garden, we'll walk you through the steps on how to get connected. And once you're connected, all of your listings will be there and you're ready to rock and roll.
Perfect. Hopefully you got some popcorn while you listen to Travis talk. Travis, thanks so much. I put up the link for you. So if anybody has any questions, we can go there. This is the reporting, I'm assuming, on the back end.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, sorry. I phased out for a second there. This is some quick reporting from people that have delivered their answers when they plan on buying, right? So we've got 18 people that plan on buying the next 30 days. We've got 12 people the next 60 days. We've got 8 people, 90 days. Let's see, we've got 19 at 6 months out, 12 months out, right? So kind of gives you an idea of based on how they're answering the questions from the basic lead form. And we can see a nice kind of lead frequency here that, let's see, Mondays, right, at night, Mondays and Tuesdays at night in the evening are kind of big days for this lead generation. And kind of gives you an idea, snapshot of their.
I like that, man. I like that. All right. So now you see how it's done easily. Let's go back to building it from scratch. And now you're going to see the difference. All right. And Travis, chime in between where Trenton is building it out so that we can see your expertise too on just the nuances. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you.
Liz, this is recorded.
That was amazing.
This is recorded. And let me see if I have the link to the YouTube page. I'm going to wear a shirt with my link on it. I think that's what I'm going to do. That's going to be a bit.ly link probably, because if not, it's not going to fit on my shirt. Let me get the link for you so that you can subscribe. It'll be up tomorrow. There you go. Boom. It's in the chat group. All right. Back to you, Trenton.
Awesome. Thank you. So now we're going to go into a little bit more of a, longer process, not 30 seconds, which I think Walled Garden was great for. So back to where we're going to create the ad itself. And we're going to create a lead form ad. So kind of through the presentation where I mentioned the objectives, here's where we're going to want to select leads. And then I believe we can name it as well over here. And we'll just put, we'll just do test campaign, but then you can name your ad sets as well. So maybe this is a specific audience that you have. So maybe it's custom audience, or maybe it's specific targeting. You can put in whatever you want there. And then the ad itself, a lot of times I just have that as the same name, but it could also just be, let's see, targeting, video ad, if it wants to type. And then once you have this, you can hit continue, and it's going to kind of create it here. We're going to do the manual one. This is new, Travis. I feel like that this has popped up.
Yeah, it is.
Recognizing this totally.
Yeah, there's some of the things that will take you through kind of like basically it's kind of streamlined a little bit there.
Let's try that one.
That's rolling out, I think, over the next couple of months here.
All right. So once you kind of create your campaign setup, now it's going to open it up here, and maybe we don't want to do that. No, that's just fine. Let's see. So, oh, I didn't realize that. I'm confused as to where I don't like this tailored one. This one's kind of difficult to see like what I'm specifically looking for.
Yeah, it kind of
We're just
changes
gonna do
things a
a
little
little
bit there.
All right. So back to leads. We'll do manual leads because this will be where I'm going to walk you through it.
Dude, I've never run tailored. I do manual.
It is new. What's funny is that, all the new things typically happen in India, and then they kind of go through the rest of Asia, and then they finally then come to the United States at the end because the United States has the smallest amount of users.
So much? Oh, that's why. I thought because we complain about everything.
Send it back. I want something else. Yeah.
All right. So we'll name our campaign up here. Categories. Here's where you're going to have to select specifically what you're looking for. If you're trying to hire other real estate agents for your team, you'll want to click employment. For this specifically, we're going to do housing because we're going to, have a real estate listing, or, even if it's a buyer's ad. Country, this section, this are just like kind of tells you a little bit more information here. We're going to edit our buying type. So I guess I only can do auction. We're going to do show more options just to kind of look at all the things here. Campaign objective, we chose leads, and campaign spending limit. Here's where we can add a limit here or a budget. And again, this is a little bit different than what the screenshot I took for you guys.
And this is the hard part with Facebook, guys, is that it's always evolving. This has changed from a week ago. There's new things in there that have been shifting around. So if you're struggling just a little bit there, it's not just you. It's that Facebook is a fast moving sand, and things are always being twisted and kind of optimized.
So, Trenton, right there on the ad spend, on the ad campaign spending limit, what are we doing right there specifically?
So I'm going to turn that off actually, because that's going to prevent you from that'll prevent you from overspending. If you did want to put, I only want to spend $100 no matter what, that'll stop that.
Got it.
If you're looking to kind of run, continuously, here's where you're down in this advantage campaign budget plus section. You want to turn that on. Here's where you can put that $10 daily budget. Maybe it's $20, maybe it's $15. Another option down here is, let's see. Here's where if you wanted to, I typically do highest volume, but you could do if you wanted a specific cost per result goal, or a couple other options to show how much you want to bid for. And
Travis, which one do you recommend there?
I would say, highest volume, because that's basically going to focus on getting the most amount of people flowing in. If you choose the others, what you're doing is you're bidding differently in the ad auction. And unless you're an absolute expert and pro at it, I wouldn't touch the others. I'd leave it at highest volume, because you really have to have historical data to know what is my average cost per lead. And if you haven't generated several thousand leads before, you're going to be kind of guessing in the dark, and it's definitely not a good thing to do. So just real quick, Trenton, before you go forward, the advantage campaign budget that you have up there, it's turned on. For those that don't know, the advantage campaign budget is switched on. And what that does is basically it allows the budget to move the spending based on, again, where people are probably going to be in the different placements. And so it's making those machine learning decisions for you in real time based on hour by hour auction bidding and where users are. So it used to be we have to go back in there every day and move and say, I want to move some of the budget to this placement in Instagram or in Marketplace or part of the newsfeed. This just makes decisions for you in real time. So always make sure that you turn that on.
Excellent point. So once we have this section filled out, that one's pretty simple as far as just like the budget to make sure your housing is set up. Then we're going to go into the ad set. And so the ad set is where we will determine the targeting options, where specifically we're going to be having it run. Let's see here. So here's where you'll be able to select your Facebook page that you have connected. If you have multiples, you'll be able to select those, and for some reason it's not loading. I have a couple different pages here that I could potentially run on, which is why I have some options there. Get rid of this guy. So here's kind of the schedule. So if you wanted to set an end date, you could. If you just want to keep it open and running and continuously generate leads, you can kind of just leave that open.
I usually have an end date so that I can, and this is what I can do here. This is a tactic or a strategy. I have an end date because I like to check that the ads change up, because they do get a little bit boring. And Travis mentioned a little bit earlier on, because there is a score. And depending on that score, Facebook will either reward you or will penalize you. So I like to keep it to around 10 to 15 days for the same ad, because that picture does get boring.
And if it's a new listing, I think that's a great idea to keep that kind of short. If you're just kind of looking for, citywide buyer leads, you could definitely have that extended a little bit longer. But of course, that's going to be up to kind of your business goals and your strategy that you're working on. Here's kind of where the audience comes into play, where I mentioned that you can create a custom audience. Excuse me. Here's where you can kind of go through, and if you had a customer list that you wanted to upload, you could do that. Here's kind of where I mentioned where you can retarget to like a lead form section. So you can do anybody that's opened up this form, anybody who opened but didn't submit the form. Probably if you're going to do some retargeting, I would probably do anybody that opened up but didn't submit it. Or possibly even a different campaign if you wanted to, ones that already are, currently running. Maybe it's then you start targeting them with different testimonials from some of your clients, or maybe you start showing off some of your teammates so that way you can see the whole cohesive unit there. But once you click on this, you can then, I'll have to switch page here just to be able to show you this. But here's where you can click any of these lead forms that were created. So like this specifically one here was, one for Fort Collins in Colorado. So anybody that's interacted with that ad in Fort Collins, Colorado could then be retargeted to. So if we selected that, you can do up to 90 days, I believe is the most here. And then if you wanted to include more options as well, you could, or if you wanted to exclude certain people, you could as well. But then you would just name the audience and then hit create audience, and that'll get added directly to this campaign here. Right now it's showing that we have.
Oh, sorry, Travis, this is a little pro tip. If you want to have the ad run to more people and be able to actually have further reach, you can create the lead ad form that you've created, and then after you launch the campaign, you basically create a custom audience for it and exclude people that have interacted with the lead ad form. So it basically doesn't show the Facebook lead ad form to the same person if they've already engaged with that lead ad form. And so what it'll do is force Facebook to find new people, and it'll serve it out to more of a fresh audience. That's
great. So you would do that probably here under exclude and have that custom audience added there.
Yeah.
Your location. So here's kind of where you'll be able to select where you would like it to run. So let's use San Diego, for example, if that wants to load.
And there are some questions, Travis, if you want to pick up on those.
Yeah, let's see here. Yes, so someone said, did I hear this correctly? I can have the new ad either remove past people who responded or target them if I want to. Absolutely. So if you have an audience that might be in a smaller market, there's sometimes what will happen is your Facebook lead ad might show to those people maybe 2 or 3 times. So, and if they haven't filled it out the first time, odds are they're not going to fill it the second time, right? So what you want to do is make sure it gets out to new people, and you can then create custom audience and exclude that custom audience of those that engage with the Facebook lead ed form.
Another one I did, Travis, was I created one that was like new leads in the past 90 days and added all the lead forms that had been submitted, the contact information to them. And so then I would add that to a new campaign, and so that it would exclude anybody that's already registered from being sent that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Smart.
So here's, San Diego, you could do people living in or recently in. If it's a high touristy area, I would probably avoid the recently in this location because those are going to be like out of state people. But depending on your goal here, you might want people that are recently in this location. Maybe you're trying to hire a real estate agent at a real estate conference. That might be an option of wanting to have that up there. But for the most part, if you're trying to generate leads for buyers and sellers, you're going to want people living in this location here. And so here's kind of where you'd want to like test a few different options. You could definitely test an option where, you leave off the targeting, and that way you have a broader audience size. Or kind of what we spoke about, the targeting that you could do is kind of jump in here and start adding different demographics that match up with that. You can do the browse section. I guess it's not demographics, technically, it's just interests. And you can browse all of them here, and there's a bunch of different ones. One of them right off the bat is Zillow. And so someone that's interacted with Zillow, you can click on this. And so these are anybody that's interacted or liked the page. And so you can see our audience size. Once this goes away, it's going to update to include people specifically that have interacted with this within San Diego. To continue, so that's kind of, it's a decent size, but we could definitely improve upon it. So then once you hit suggestions, this is where it starts suggesting things based on the target that you already have. So you can kind of come in here. Let's say you're targeting first-time home buyers. You could do this first-time home buyer. There's this first-time home buyer grant. Maybe it's starter home you want to throw in there. So you can start adding these different targeting things that work out for what you're looking for. Mortgage calculator, that's a great one. So it's kind of like endless here. It does end at some point because there's only so many. But as you can kind of see the different options here that you could then target for, which is great. So some other ways that I think these are still here. Maybe it got taken off. But there was some other interests that were alluding to a higher price point that I was able to target for before, but I don't know if that's still there. Because like mansion, I would have on there. I would have someone that does a bunch of business traveling. That could express that they might have some little bit more money. I believe they had something with like something with cars. I thought it was like a fancy car type thing. Maybe not. But there's different things that you can do. Credit Karma was one of them that was in here. So people that have been checking their credit scores, Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, both of those were on here. So again, you have plenty of options to kind of play with, but then definitely do some different testing to see which ones are going to work best in your market. I have some of these that work great in like Detroit, Michigan. I'm pulling in under $1 per lead. But then I run the exact same campaign in Virginia Beach, and they're a little bit higher, like $10 to $12 a lead. So it's kind of like the different areas you have to do different things with. So that's kind of the main part here of the targeting that's going to distinguish if your ad's going to be great or not.
Really
here's
quick,
kind of where I mentioned where you can do. Yeah.
For those of you wondering what the difference is between this and KW Command, specifically Command, is that Command does not give you the option to ask questions, which we'll show you in a little bit when we get to the next screen. I think it's in the next screen where we're creating the copy, and it's at the bottom. And that alone, that little piece will allow you to determine the quality of the lead much quicker. So unfortunately, Command does not let you do that at all. So that's the biggest one. All right, go ahead.
Here's where the placement section was. Probably just want to leave Advantage Plus placements on at all times, unless, like I said, specifically, there's specific areas that you want to, only target your leads in. You can then go in here and play with that if you wanted to. This optimization part, nothing here because of the strategy that you picked on the first part. If you did do like landing pages instead of like the leads, you could then kind of adjust this for the different charging for like landing page only or impression, things like that. So once we kind of have our audience figured out, we can then get into actually creating the ad, which will be the next section. And so here you'll be able to obviously select the Facebook page you want it to run from. And then if you have a Instagram account as well that you want to add, you can do that too. I don't know if I have any connected at the moment. I guess this random one. So you could have your page set up, your Instagram account set up. And then here's where you kind of get into the creation part. So if you want to do a single image or video or a carousel, you can do that. And I'm actually going to go back one step real quick because I didn't see the dynamic. Unless that get removed, Travis.
That's on the campaign on the first tab there. Let's see here actually. Scroll down. Oh no, it's going to be on the.
That was the ad set.
Yeah, it's going to be at the ad set level.
This is a perfect example of why we use walled garden, by the way.
Right.
This happens to me every time I go to the back end of Facebook. And look, we helped create part of the direction of this. Every time I go to the back, I'm like, what else did they change? It's not
right. You're like, oh, this is kind of a nightmare. Yeah.
I was on this yesterday and it was totally different. I feel like, I feel like I live in here.
I called them to say, please screw with Trenton, and it worked. See?
Please hide the dynamic creative button.
Please hide everything. Change it up.
Yeah.
So here's where you can add your images or add your videos. And if the dynamic button was there, you could add up to 10 images and videos that you have. I'm not quite sure which images are in here from this account, but you can add your photos and your videos. And then here's where you can start adding your copy. So kind of like some of those examples I showed you guys, or it's like new homes for sale in, San Diego.
This is where I would go to ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a really good primary text, or write me, and then when I go to the rest of it, write the description. Write me a great description of a home that's in Malibu in front of the beach that has 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, something like that. But anyway.
And here you can just click on this and it'll insert in the emojis, which this is brand new because I wasn't there before. I used to have to do the little Apple shortcut to be able to get the emojis to pop up, which is what this is. And then the best part is to add additional options here. So because you want them to be able to kind of test against each other, and then you can kind of check the reporting to see which options are generating the best leads or which ones are getting the more impressions, things like that. Again, I like to have 5 copy options, 5 headlines, and 3 to 5 descriptions as a way just to be able to test against them and then remove the ones that aren't working in that area. Because again, not every single copy point is going to work in every single city across the United States. So you want to kind of check on that. But like I said, we have examples in that presentation that you can plug and play into here. The other big one here is call to action. Again, now there's no download. And like download now was always the one that I had used.
It is interesting.
I like the send message one is good. What's your best option, Travis, on that?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. So we tested these out, and really, so the download button was a great kind of intuitive. I'm going to get access to that now, right? But the send message one was a little more intimidating, or the subscribe or sign up was a little bit more intimidating to users. So it had a lower click-through rate because people were like, what am I signing up for? What's this commitment, right? But the learn more button really has gotten the highest amount. And so it was download and learn more. They got the best click-through rate.
And for that person that was asking about whether or not to send them over to Instagram, if this is an ad to grow your audience, I mean, this is a great time to decide, send message, subscribe. Is it a newsletter? What is it if it's not specifically for real estate, right?
Yeah. And Chris has a good question, which is, you mentioned running separate ads at once to test which settings and audience work best. Why not do A and D split test above? So, what you're doing there is creating a better optimized campaign structure. And so it used to be to where you would run A and B split tests, and they would actually be whole separate campaigns, or, it would duplicate a campaign and split it. That became antiquated, actually. And so Facebook's, what they call the Big Five, was changing things into being more streamlined. And so what you're focused on doing is creating, so dynamic creative, which Trenton has his mouse over right there. If you turn on dynamic creative and switch that to on, what that's going to do is allow you to have, right, those different opportunities for 10 different pieces of ad creative, different ad images, 5 different headlines, 5 different things of ad copy. And they're going to test against each other, ad copy against each other. If you want to test a different audience, you're going to create a different ad set in that campaign. And so I always suggest having 2 different ad sets, one that's interest-based, one that's wide open targeting. And I look at this every week because we have thousands of campaigns running. And it's fascinating to me because one day you'll see interest-based targeting crushing it. And then another time you'll see open targeting crushing it, and interest-based not generating any leads at all, or really high cost per leads. So the algorithm changes all the time. Ad auctions shift all the time. You got to test those things out. So one campaign, 2 ad sets, dynamic creative on each. That way you've got 20 different pieces of ad creative competing against each other. And then after about 30 days, you can see this headline works better than this headline. This number 3 ad creative is outperforming ad creative number 1. You delete the ones that aren't working, and you end up with then a small select winners, little champions, and that's going to be your winning ad creative, and continue to run those.
That was good, dude. Somebody asked about ChatGPT. I put up the link for OpenAI, and I know Travis has been fooling around with it. I have to jump off to a success webinar for 30 minutes, but this is going to keep going, guys. We have a whole block. So if you see me jump out, I'm going to jump back in, and we're still going in a little bit. And just keep on going. I'm going to silently step out, and hopefully when I come back, I can hear you guys still going, so I can listen in for Trenton's right off the bat. I don't know if anybody was counting.
Thank you, Tristan.
Nobody's counting anymore, Trenton. It's kind of sad. 204. Kristen.
204. Nice. Yeah.
You win all 6. James Patton's beating everybody. Now we're making up numbers. All right, Trenton. Sorry.
All good. So now that I fixed that from being messenger to leads, now kind of here's where I was showing you the call to action. Here's kind of the options here, but as Travis was mentioning, the learn more seems to be the one that's kind of been successful. Here's where you can put the link to where your website is as well. And so this will show up. I think that's what Tristan's links was. But this would show, no, of course, that's not what the link is, but this will show in the actual ad preview itself. Let me add in some images just to get an idea. This is where I lost out on, or where it kicked me out. So here's where it shows you can select up to 10 different images, maybe some are, some homes. And these are just kind of random images I'm selecting. But if there are ones that were specifically to the listing, or specifically to the community, or specifically to the city that you're looking for, you can add these in here. And here's where you can start adding your primary text. And again, kind of where Tristan mentioned, using ChatGPT might be a great opportunity here to get some great content provided as well. I'm trying to click in here, but it's not letting me.
Travis, if you want, do you have access to ChatGPT, Travis? You can throw it out there and be like, and just type in like, give me a description for a house.
Yeah, let me pull it up here. I have it
That'd
actually open.
And for those of you who have to jump off on the 2-hour mark, I'm sorry, we're still going to keep going, but we're going to record. This is recorded, so this will be on YouTube by tomorrow, so you can skip to this section of it. And then Trenton will provide the slides, even though this section is not going to be on the slides. But if Travis has it up, you could showcase it. And I put up the link to open.ai if you want to go there.
Yeah. Do you want me to share my screen for this, or do you want me just to do it in the background here, Trenton?
Oh, dude, share your screen. Show how cool it is. A lot of people, even though we've been talking about it since it came out in November for everyone, a lot of people still don't know how it works. So it'd be kind of cool.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to say act as a Facebook marketing pro. Oops, let me do that. Pro, and write a ad for a list of homes.
I can't. This is just too awesome.
Right. I created a software out of chat. I had ChatGPT write me software in the Go programming language a couple of nights ago, and sent it to my development team, and they're just like, "Oh my God, this would have taken us 3 weeks," and ChatGPT did it in less than 30 seconds. All right, so we've got headline: Discover your dream home today. I'm going to say discover your dream home today. I think that's a good one. And body, are you looking for a home that meets the needs? Oh, you know what? I typed in ADA, not ADIA. ADIA format is a copywriting format, is attention, interest, desire, and action. And this wrote it as ADA compliant. That's what happened.
Oh, the disabilities one.
I thought that's what you were going for.
No, right. Using the ADIA format. Okay, now let's see what that does here for everybody. All right. Oh, you know what? I'm going to stop generating, because what it does is it has a cascading effect where it has strings attached to what you've written before. So in ChatGPT, I need to say ignore the previous prompts. Or I can just open up actually a new one. Okay, let's see. Let's
just take that first thing you wrote and just copy and paste it, and then just fix the ADA to be.
Yeah. Let's do a new chat here. Okay. Well, it's a good way for people to understand of what it can do. But I would just say, here, I'm going to stop my share, is just to keep it as clean and simple, short as possible. And so what we've tested in the past is short ad copy works so much better than long form, especially when it comes to lead generation. If it's for like informative, nurturing, brand awareness, those kind of things, long form does really well. Short form, see all the homes today, right? See all the homes now for like a headline. But short and sweet really does the best work there. And really, you kind of want to have the ADIA, attention, interest, desire, and actions, right? So the attention is drawing from the actual ad image itself, property, whatever it might be. And then the interest part is saying, see all the homes priced under $525,000. See all the photos, details, prices today. Tap here to get access now. What you're doing is basically describing, here's a list of homes, here's the price range, and this is where it is, and this is what you're going to get on the other side. So explaining what you're going to get on the other side is so important in having what we call micro commitments or micro conversion copy, because you carry that through in the Facebook lead ad form itself as well, right? When you want to encourage to tell them, again, this is what you're going to get, because if people click on the ad and they don't want to go to the Facebook lead ad form because it doesn't tell them enough information, there's no welcome card, right? No slate that says, hey, this is what you're going to get. They're going to bounce out. They're going to leave. Your conversion rate is going to be low. Cost per lead is going to go up. And then that feedback is then driven inside the algorithm. And the algorithm says, hey, people don't like this ad. They're not converting on it. Suppress it. Move some of the other ads that their competitors have out to the right audience. Because Facebook wants people to have a good experience on Facebook. So think of that conversion aspect there.
Excellent. So I'm not going to go through too much detail as far as like putting the text here. Like I said, there's some examples for you in that presentation. But the main thing here is to create a lead form that I want to go through. I'm going to use one that I've already created here just as an example. So this one we might name as new homes for sale in Madison, Alabama, was specifically what I was doing this one for. The options here are more volume and higher intent. Higher intent basically gives them, and correct me if I'm wrong, like another confirmation as they're submitting their information. So it's going to be another click, but it's basically saying that, yes, I meant to do this. Because you might get people that are like, well, I didn't submit my information, or I don't remember doing that, or I clicked a button. So this could help eliminate some of those. But if you are just looking for the most amount of leads that you can then try to work through your ISA team, or like an AI bot, or whatever that option is, those are the two things here. But I usually leave more volume just so that way it brings in more. As far as the intro here goes, this, you can change your image, but the specific image I used of a new construction community in Madison, Alabama. Kind of showing off where these new homes for sale are going to be, or where they can build. I think this specific ad that I had ran for this one was like new construction homes in Madison, Alabama. Here's kind of this greeting here that you can change. Just know that if you do toggle between these will delete themselves. But here's some of the kind of the lists that I have. Take a peek inside the homes, see all the details and photos, search all Madison homes. If you went the paragraph route, you can kind of explain a little bit more detail of what they're looking for, what they're going to be getting. See all the homes for sale in Madison, Alabama. Get new construction homes sent directly to you. So you could do something like that if you wanted to. Of course, my spelling was off there. And then the next section here is questions. So here's where you can ask those questions, and the questions that Travis mentioned that Walled Garden is asking. So you could do a multiple choice or a short answer. You could even do an appointment request, which I think is kind of cool. So you can have someone set up an appointment directly with you. But for this purpose, it's like, how soon are you looking to buy? Or maybe it's, when are you looking to move in by? And then your answer here, once that populates, if it's going to, you can put, the next 30 days, 6+ months, and you can continue to add, and then maybe it's 12+ months, 3 to 6 months, and maybe just looking. And so then they would select that option when they are filling out the lead form as well. Another question you might ask is, like Travis mentioned, was, do you have a home to sell, or do you own a home? Either or, it'd be yes or no.
Another good question to ask there is, do you have to sell before you buy? And so asking if you have to sell before you buy, then that's a good one, because that creates a little bit more transparent urgency. I'm like, oh, yes, I do. And it also kind of breaks the ice a little bit that you're most likely going to follow up with that. Now, if you want to get really advanced, you can do conditional logic, where you can, if they say, do you currently own a home? Yes or no. And if they say yes, you can trigger the conditional logic on the lead-in form to say, would you like a custom home valuation? And then you can then ask for their address and have it go down that way. That's a little bit more of like AP advanced lead-in form creation, but there are those opportunities if you want to get that deep into it.
So if you want to add questions, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. The pre-fill questions here, I believe the default thing is usually full name. If you're going to import this into like a CRM, you might want to do first name and last name, just so that way, if you do have some automation going out and using a first name, variable, you might not want to say, "Hey, Travis, Thom," especially if they mess up their last name or they put in the wrong thing. So I just like to separate that as first name, last name, and you can just do that here by adding the contact information or the user information. So here's that full name option, which can be kind of tricky for automation purposes. Next thing you have to add is your privacy policies. So you'll put that on your from your website that you have. If you want to add a custom disclaimer, you can do that as well. And then your message for leads is, what are they getting? What are you sending them to? Are they downloading a guide? Whatever that is, just make sure that you have that kind of listed here. Excuse me, for this specific example, it was see all homes for sale in Madison, Alabama. So then here it is, tap see homes to see more photos and more information. Here's the see homes down here. So it helps, resonate for them to, know what to do. Your other option here is to call a business. So that's kind of where I mentioned where you can put a phone number, and obviously that call to action should probably change to be something more of, call us now or call now. And then also view file. So if you wanted to, send them a home buyer's guide, and this is where you wouldn't need a landing page, because you can either have them give you a phone call or you can have them, download that guide once they submit their information. So that's kind of like the last step here, the main thing of, getting a lead form. But I do want to jump over here into settings. As if you're a little bit more advanced, you can start the field names here of when you start asking those questions. So like, when are you looking to buy? And based on that answer, depending on what your CRM is, you could then have that specific information be sent directly to your CRM, so it matches up on like a lead details page or something like that. The other thing is this tracking parameters. And let's see if this opens. Yep. So these are specifically set up for Chime, because Chime is the one that we were using for this business here for this campaign. And these are all, you can find this under the help section of Chime if you wanted to, but these will allow you to be able to route better. These will allow you to set up those action plans right off the bat. So like for this example here, source obviously is the source. And for us, it was, a Facebook ad in Alabama, and it was new listings. The campaign here worked out to be a tag that gets added. So Madison, Alabama gets added as a tag. The medium here shows like what type of, are they a buyer? Are they a seller? The term here, this allows for the search criteria area to automatically be added. So once Madison, Alabama gets added to the lead, you could then have a smart plan set up to automatically set buyer property alerts up for Madison, Alabama, so that they automatically get those set up. And then also this content is also a tag, and this just shows off of, was a tag to be able to route and be able to filter leads by, because this team had offered a certain type of plan. So then once you have that, you would just hit publish, and then you'd be kind of ready to go to launch your ad. I'm not going to save that.
An important thing there I got to point out is the privacy policy, that Facebook will not allow you to publish or run the ad until you have a privacy policy in place. So your privacy policy is typically, your website provider probably has that somewhere on your site. If they don't, then it's going to be difficult to create that. You can create your own. There's different generators that create that, but Facebook will look at your privacy policy and actually see, is it up to date? Does it meet their standards? And that does fall into how well your ad will perform. So just kind of keep that in mind. The privacy policy needs to be up to date and out of there, which can be a headache. But hopefully, if you've got a good website provider, it does. Walled garden already auto creates privacy policy for you that is updated to Facebook's privacy policy in real time. So that's already been added for that. What if we don't have a privacy policy? Where we can find? So I would just Google privacy policy generator for Facebook lead ad forms. So just Google that. There's some generators out there. You can type in your company name. It'll then generate a whole thing for you. Copy, paste that into a new page that you have on your website. Name it privacy policy, and you're good to go there.
So I just want to show you really quickly, like an actual ad that's kind of launched and everything, just so you get an idea of, some stats and stuff like that. And then I'll pop over back into the presentation and kind of walk through some additional examples.
As we're doing that, Trina, there's a couple of people that asked about the cost of walled garden. And so walled garden is a pay per ad platform. So you only pay when you run an ad, and walled garden charges $39 plus 15% of the ad spend. So if you're doing, let's say, 10 days duration, $10 a day, the total there with your ad spend and walled garden fee is $154. That creates the Facebook lead ad for you, creates the auto-generated ad copy, image, headlines, targeting, and the lead routing, and the single property website that's auto-created for you. And also has the leads in there, but the leads get sent to you via text, email, and routed to your preferred CRM. So just so you know, that's what it costs. Really affordable. Definitely one of those where you got to think about what is your time worth. And so that's it. Oh, Delana, I just got signed on and it's $279. So if you're a lender and you're going through the lender route, if you chose that you're a lender, we do have a mortgage lender walled garden, and that allows you as a mortgage lender to invite real estate agents, and then you co-market listings with them. So that's $279 a month if you are a mortgage lender for that platform. How much for an agent? For an agent, it is pay per ad. So our walled garden's service fee is $39 plus 15% of the ad spend. So you're really just choosing it as a pay per ad. So you go to launch an ad and you're paying for $39 plus 15% of the ad spend. So your total investment to run one ad at the defaults of 10 days, $10 a day, is $154. Yeah.
I saw someone had asked.
Sorry,
you can go. You're good.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. Delana said she clicked on the wrong one. Yeah, go ahead and talk to our chat support team, and they'll refund you that because you signed up for the lender one. They'll get you switched over to the agent one. Hey, James, is the walled garden performance the same as when the ad's manually? No. You'll most likely experience a higher performance because we use the Facebook marketing API, and we are leveraging a lot of data that you typically don't have access to as a user inside of Facebook. With that, it's also really leveraging artificial intelligence software that is making thousands of decisions in the background for you in real time, optimizing these campaigns. So what you're going to see is you're going to get a lower cost per lead and more leads, and everything shifts and changes. So if we see an ad that needs better performance, it'll change the actual ad campaign itself. So it's basically kind of like my mind as a software in the background there, typing on things and changing things in real time. And also because the landing page that it sends people to, the single party websites, are optimized for 42 different things that Facebook looks for when basically saying, is this kind of website the website that we want our Facebook users to have? So it's fast loading, has a privacy policy, has continuity. Images that are used in the ad are used on the landing page, and same with the ad copy. Facebook looks for a ton of different things to penalize you, to suppress the reach in a campaign. And we've met all of those standards inside of the website that is instantly created, plus the Facebook ad itself. So it's a high performing campaign that'll outperform me even. And I've battle tested it and actually ran the exact same ad inside of walled garden. And I ran the exact same ad, me building it by myself just in Facebook. And, I've generated over 4 million real estate leads in my career, spent millions of dollars on these kind of campaigns. And I can tell you that I'm, considered one of the best at doing it. Trenton's amazing at it as well. Tristan's amazing at it. Walled garden beat me. And I was generating leads at like $6. Walled garden was generating leads at like $1.80 and generated more leads, right? And so, it's not going to be like that in every market, but it does perform really, really well. Tracy, how many leads does it guarantee per ad? Well, each market's different, right? So I can tell you is that every ad that I've seen inside of walled garden always generates leads. But some it generates 80, some generate 12. It's depending on different markets and different times that you launch the ad. All right. Okay. Maria asked.
I saw one that was. That's what I was just about to do.
Yeah. Please.
She asked, where does the info go when info is submitted on the form? So I'm going to share my screen again. And so here's kind of where just a quick, rough thing here of some ads that I was running. Here's some different states and geographic areas. And then here's kind of that cost per lead as well. So you can see that consistently it's under $5, but kind of an average of $3 to $4 is what I was able to get. And then I wanted to show you specifically where you had asked. Of course, now it's going to be slow. So once you get into the ad set, you can see that there's these leads here. And these are all from, I think, this month for this specific one. But once you click on this to get into the ad section, I had it loaded, sorry. You'll be able to click directly on this. That'll become a link once this opens up. So right here, you can then hit this to download your leads. Now, this could be quite a pain every single day to have to download your leads. And I believe there's one other section, correct me if I'm wrong, Travis, to be able to see them. It's in a different section. I might
on your Facebook business page, it actually has a lead center. And in that lead center, it's a mini CRM that you can actually use, which is kind of a fun thing.
But so basically you'd hit download and it'll save it as a CSV file. And then you'd have that information kind of ready to go here. Now, if you have like a app like Zapier, you could have that sent directly to your email. You could have it sent directly to a Google Sheet. You could have that information sent directly to your CRM if there isn't an integration already on that CRM. Like a Chime, they are already integrated. So you just have to log into there and be able to populate that information in. Like I said, some of them might need to use Zapier though in order to get that information.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's
any other questions?
Let's see there. Kind of going through a few. There's in the Q&A. Let's see.
Will walled garden help with targeting Spanish-speaking clients, or is it bilingual friendly?
Very soon. Yeah, very soon we're going to have the ability to change it to multiple different languages. And I think that's critical because there's a lot of people being kind of left out. So yes, very soon.
Back to that, how many leads does it guarantee per ad? If you're running like a new just listed ad, you can probably expect maybe if you're spending $100, you could probably get 20 to 30, possibly more leads there. If you have just trying to generate some buyer or have a home valuation request ad, I feel like the number is kind of endless. As long as you have a great performing ad that's bringing in a low cost per lead, you can continue to have it running for as long as you want. See, how are the ads doing in Littleton, Colorado? Well, when I was running ads at Littleton, it was kind of a higher price point, definitely. Northtown or metro area, though, however, that one was doing really well. Let's see.
Yeah, Colorado is always expensive to run ads in, mainly
That's all
because
the questions. I'm going to go through some of the.
how many days for the campaign?
Is it really a must use Zapier for sending leads directly to Chime? Chime specifically, no, because they do have an integration. But when you have those UTM parameters set up, like I had showed you guys, that you can then have additional information sent to it as well. Otherwise, it would just populate as a new lead from Facebook. I'm going to go from there. What are you seeing as a cost per lead? Depending on what the ad is, you could definitely consistently keep it under $5 per lead. Sounds like Walled Garden's able to keep it kind of around the $1 to $2 per lead, depending on what the ad is. I see typically a lower cost per lead on a brand new just listed home that's being pushed out. But I also don't necessarily always see that those convert right away. They're kind of a lot of people just trying to look at that image. But I see kind of more of like a $3 to $6 range and someone that's looking for a generic buyer ad, and kind of like a $4 to $6 range for like a home valuation request.
Yep.
Let's see. So now I'm going to share my screen again. And please ask questions if you guys have any questions regarding these examples. They're not all examples that I've necessarily done, but they're definitely examples that I thought would be beneficial for you guys to take a look at. And I think the main takeaway from a lot of these ads is notice the imagery, notice the headlines and what information that is presented that tells you exactly what you're going to get. So an example of this one would be obviously the bright professional imagery here. This is a little bit more generic of Newport Beach homes for sale, and like not necessarily a just listed ad, but one that kind of, encompasses all of the homes there. Kind of talks about the positive language here of your home search has never been easier. The home search can be stressful for people, and seeing that it can be a lot easier, simplifies that and makes them feel a little bit more friendlier. Let our website help you find the perfect place to call home. Home, generating that whole like home feeling is great for there. And then, especially with the targeting of the local audience, it's effectively targeting the Newport Beach home buyers, looking for a new home for sale. So cohesively, this all kind of flows together and presents an overall nice ad here. Here's kind of one that appeals to a specific demographic. So you're talking about kind of, why it can be confusing to buy a home, it's not just a dream. And, here's kind of that first step to make it happen. No more questions or getting upset, like slamming your hands on the keyboard. This is where buyers win. And here you can come join our home buying 101 that you can sign up for. This is kind of like a webinar one. You're being a resource. And it helps them be able to start their home buying process. And you can also continue to build that relationship as the process goes on. Here's another one where we kind of talked about not using necessarily a home, but allowing for the image to do the talking and the image to help resonate. Like this one would be obviously a new family kind of looking for, a new house, or possibly, they're upgrading to a new home. This family here might be looking for a bigger house because they got 3 kids. This one here looks like they have a dog. So they might want one that's in a nice community or around nice parks, things like that. But being that this is a carousel ad, so obviously you wouldn't see all of this and you'd have to scroll through. They're hitting different demographics in each one. So, this one obviously is kind of just mentioning that they're a real estate agent here. Here's how you can level up with a cash offer. This one's more of a no stress with an easy home buying experience. So the main thing is they tell a story, and they invite the audience to position themselves within it. And I think that's kind of the strongest point with these ones. Obviously mentioning competition is tough. Cash offers are great. This one specifically, I mean, not everybody offers this, but you can officially buy the home from us later for the same price. I know some agents will do that just because they can. Here's another one. Again, appealing to the demographics. This one's a younger, potentially single home buyers, trying to find their first home. Maybe they're in an apartment here searching, they have a dog, and, they want to make sure that they're finding everything that is right here for them. Let's see. I mean, here it says, like I said, all you need is you, yourself, and maybe a dog. It's already here. You can start the home buying process whenever you want. So this is a strong one. As long as it's kind of a video, that's great too. But I mean, it doesn't have to be a video, because if you send them to where they're at, there could be a video there. Here's a leveraging exclusive access type one. Obviously some customers like to feel like they're VIPs, and now you can create ads that kind of resonate well with that. So obviously this specific image doesn't tie with what the copy is, but it's kind of mentioning just, these exceptional finishes, the details of this, the amazing views that you can get from it. So it just kind of shows off of a gorgeous high-end home, gets it from a luxury home angle. And obviously it's the stunning photography that's going to capture them. And I know Travis has shown me this before of, this is kind of the first area that someone's going to look at. And then I believe this was like the second area, and this is kind of like the third area. So as long as you have a strong image, a strong headline that resonates with it, and then some body copy to back it up, that's kind of what you need to be successful with these ads. Obviously it's like the of it that really, puts someone there. Like you could see them, this type of client is like, oh, I'm sitting here, I can enjoy this, I can, take a business call here, I'm, just relaxing after a long day of work. So it helps put them in their shoes.
There's a question from Ariel that asks, can we see what specific carousel card the audience has clicked on, or will it just redirect to a single form? And the answer is yes, you can see underneath the reporting, under the performance and clicks, and you can then go to custom and actually drill down the actual carousel cards they clicked on. But just know that it does click any of the cards that click on the carousel sends them to the lead ad form, opens that. But also there's a setting inside when you're creating the ad, and especially a carousel ad, that it'll dynamically move the carousel card around that's getting the highest engagement. So whatever getting is the highest click-through rate, it'll move that card to the front. So that way, if someone's clicking a lot of people are clicking the third carousel card, it will then actually dynamically move it. And so Facebook is becoming more and more evolved in looking at personalization and behavioral habits of what people are clicking on, engaging with, and then replicating that for the next person, because it's learning, right? It's the machine learning part of the algorithm, which says, oh, people enjoy this, they like this, and it's going to then show them more of that and adapt the ad to that.
Yeah, and kind of speaking on that, I wanted to share one more thing on the ads manager now that you mentioned that. Under this breakdown section, you can see by dynamic creative elements if I have the ad selected. Basically, this will break down, why am I not being able to see that? It's weird. But what I'm trying to show you is, and I don't know why it's not popping up right now, but you can click on by name.
Yeah, it looks like that one doesn't have dynamic creative set up for it, possibly.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. But basically, you'd be able to see all the images results. So it breaks down all 10 images, and it shows you, which ones have the higher cost per lead, which ones are actually serving to the different leads, and being able to see that information there. I just wanted to see if it was on. Well, that's all right. I'm not going to worry about that. Maybe I can follow up with that on a different call.
Tracy is asking, how do you retrieve the lead information from a conversion objective campaign? And so that's a good question. So a conversion objective campaign is different than a lead generation campaign. A conversion objective, you're leveraging the Facebook conversion API, which is attached to conversion events. In those events, you're selecting 5 different events. Each one is a little bit different depending on the industry you're in. They do have events selected for real estate, like property search, scheduling, lead, inquiring, those things. Those events are added through the pixel on the back end of your website that then are triggered and sent when someone clicks on an ad from a conversion campaign, goes to your website, and triggers the event that is actually programmed through the pixel and selected through the event. So for instance, if they clicked on a button to view a property that's, they viewed a page, whatever that might be. That's just events that are triggering, that are firing, telling the campaign to find more people in the audience through the ad auction that are going to do a very similar action. So again, the machine learning through that is saying, hey, find people that are doing these specific events and actions. I want more people to trigger these actions. So if they are looking at properties and click on property search, then it's going to find more people to do that. But the lead itself, you would have to have a landing page or a lead form on your website to go through that. And then those leads, of course, are sent to you, however, because that's part of your website, part of your development. So just know the conversion campaign is set up much differently than a lead generation campaign where you're using a Facebook lead ad form, either on Facebook or Instagram, where it's the mini landing page inside of Facebook. That flips around and you get that information. Nick, I've tried to run my own ads through Ads Manager. So confusing and time consuming. Even seeing how the sausage is made really makes my head spin. I totally hear you there. That's why we've got things like Walled Garden, right? That just do it for you in 6 clicks. 30 seconds later, you've got a full-fledged, high-converting Facebook ad campaign for you. Tracy, are the leads answering the contact questions as well as the multiple choice questions? Is this too much? No. Yes and no. Yes, the leads are they can either edit those, so they are pre-filled from their social profile. So sometimes you might get someone as their first name, last name, email and phone number. Maybe the phone number is correct, but the email is old, right? It's an old email that they used, or the email is correct, but the phone number may have changed. People rarely typically change their phone number. Email, I've got 7 different emails, and Trenton has a ton of different emails, right? All of us have different emails. So the key thing there is, the phone number is pre-filled, and that's typically the best way to go via text message. Multiple choice questions, you want to have sometimes some things they have to manually fill out. Like you might, even if you want a higher quality lead, we've been testing this, is ask them, what is 4 + 4? And have a little equation for them to kind of go through. So you'd be surprised what actually generates a higher quality lead. Hey, Cindy, what's the cost for Walled Garden? It's pay per ad. It's a pay per ad platform. So when you launch a campaign, you're paying basically $39 plus 15% of the ad spend. So if you're going to launch a campaign for one property and you're running it for 10 days, $10 a day, your total cost for the ad spend and Walled Gardens cost is going to be $154. And that's the cost of it doing all of the magic that it does for you. Tristan's back.
He's getting there.
He's getting there. Audio's getting connected. And now we have Tristan.
Here we go. Right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
I'm never gonna let that go, Trenton. Ever. Too good. It's too good. All right, dude. We're wrapping up. This is awesome. This is like a master class. You can come back in, take a break. It's like a 2-part. This is Avatar Part 2.
Avatar Part 2.
Time-wise, almost.
I think we were just wrapping it up. Trenton went through and did an amazing job on taking us through every nuance of Facebook Ad Manager, Facebook lead ads. And, for those that are watching, Facebook lead ads is probably one of the easiest ways to be able to generate leads, and getting that information in is the big job. The next step of that, of course, is follow-up, right? And so speed to lead via text, email, tons of different tools out there to automate some of those processes. But thank you, Trenton, for going through that with a fine-tooth comb.
I think the next one we can do like conversion and continue to see some results. Eric said he just tested it out. It's looking good for him. Travis, did you change while I left? Did you put on a sweater?
I had a wardrobe change. Yeah, I had a wardrobe change, and just I have different shoes on. I'm not going to show them to you, but I feel pretty. I just want to let you know that.
This is good. I missed the good part. I
got cold. I got cold because I had to open up my office door, and it's like 30.
This is the garage. Is that the garage?
This is the office garage. Give you a small tour right here. Got some of the things there.
Dude, I love your setup. I love the setup. All right, Trenton, is that a wrap?
I think so. I'll definitely have the presentation for everybody. And remember, all those examples are going to be in the back of the presentation. There's probably about 15 to 20 different examples and kind of details out what makes each one so great.
Perfect. And then Trenton, if you could put in your contact info there along with Travis, can you put on anything there so that if people have questions? I know a lot of them already jumped into taking a look at walled garden, so you'll probably get some of the same people in there. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. It's easy to reach out to me on Instagram. That's the easiest. And Trenton will put out his email there. And then Travis will put a fake email so you won't reach him. I'm joking. I'm just kind of joking. There you go. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time. This was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.